Hey guys, so it's late afternoon, and today if you watched the morning coffee video report, then you knew I was going to spend some time with ceramics too today, but you had enough from yesterday that should have kept you busy. But from between yesterday and today, I got a lot of emails asking about how do I make tentacles, and if you paid attention throughout the leg demo, I didn't show you how to do it, but I did kind of speak to it. So remember that a tentacle is just a tapered coil. So it's gonna be thicker at one end and thinner at the other. So here is an example of what a tentacle might look like. So this is what I'm gonna show you. So if you've been waiting on this, this is the video you wanna watch, okay? So let me adjust my camera here. All right, so I've wedged my clay, and now I'm gonna do my tapered coil. So you know how to do that. Remember, it's just a regular coil, but thick at one end, thin at the other. Just like when you made your handle. You made a tapered handle, tapered coil, sorry. So that part you should remember, hopefully. So squeeze and rotate, just turning slightly, don't turn too far, or else you'll get a flat coil, and you don't want a flat coil. Well, maybe you do for your tentacle. You could flatten one side if you wanted. So I'm just gonna show you a really basic tentacle. I'm not gonna go into a whole lot of details because you're gonna have enough other things going on, I think, to keep you kind of occupied and with your structure. So we're just gonna do a really basic one. You could get way more detail, but we're not gonna do that. So I got my tapered coil, thick on one end, thin at the other. I could keep going. It's gonna depend on you as the artist, guys. However much clay you start with is how long you can get your tentacle, and how thin you want it at the end is also up to you. I probably wouldn't make it any thinner than the tip of your paintbrush though, because that's getting pretty skinny. You could even use your pinky as a guide. That's a safer bet. Okay, so once I have my coil kind of molded out and shaped, then I'm gonna roll it on my board here, or your work surface, wherever it is that you're working. Round out the tip just a little bit. And you know, it's okay, I think, if your tentacles are not exactly the exact same length. You know, I think that that's pretty normal. I'm gonna take my rib though, and I'm just gonna kind of smooth it out because I got a few little edges that I don't want. Now when you're making your coils, you want to make sure that your clay's pretty wet. It's easier to make a good coil if your clay's wet. So if it's cracking a whole bunch, that means your clay was too dry. So I just keep a little bucket of water next to me, and I'm just gonna dip my fingers in there, and I'm just gonna pull this a little bit, smooth it out, because it'll make it easier to kind of bend and curve. So just like that, okay? And now at this point, if you wanted to flatten one side, you could. I'm not going to, I don't think. Just because, I don't know, I didn't do it to that one in case I use these. So, but you could if you wanted to. And then somebody asked, well, how do I make suckers on the tentacle? Well, you could, like I said, you could get way more detailed to this. You could, you know, put all these little dots that I did, and then you could take another piece of clay and you could put it around the outside of the circle and only smooth out the outside, and it would actually make it look like a little sucker. But I'm not gonna do that. If you wanna do that, you can. Okay, so I'm gonna take my paintbrush handle, and you don't have to hold this when you do it, but I'm just gonna go through, and I'm just gonna kind of do this randomly. I'm not gonna be too precise about it. And you can make it a little bit deeper if you want, you know. Just kind of depends on the look that you want. You could do a little of both. If I was gonna keep this for my sculpture, I would definitely make them more detailed. But this will work, especially for, you know, you're a beginner still, and that's perfectly fine. If you want to tackle it, go for it. If not, this will work. Okay, so now I've got my little suckers on there. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of bend it in the direction and shape that I want. You don't want to keep it flat like this because this will break on you. So you do, and you keep that water next to you because that'll help kind of bend this. But you can kind of curve them. And then if you see those little, do you see like the cracks? I don't know if you can see that. But sometimes it happens like in these areas. So just take your little bowl of water, your sponge, and just compress that area. Anywhere you have that. Because ultimately what's gonna happen, guys, is you're not gonna keep it with this blunt end here. So what we'll do is, let me get my guy out of here. You know, I can use this one. This one's my spare form. But what you'll end up doing, let's say your guy is sitting like this some way, somehow, you'll cut this part at an angle. So with you guys will use your modeling tool, but with your modeling tool, just cut it at an angle. And then what will happen is, wherever the pieces touch, remember you're gonna score and slip. So ultimately what I will end up doing is wherever you're putting these, you're gonna score here, you're gonna score here, compress them together. This is now the seam. So remember where the seam is, it's right here. So we're gonna score that and then we'll add a coil. The other thing I always encourage kids to do is, I don't know that I would leave this out there like this. You might wanna kind of attach it to the side. You could just score and slip and kind of stick it on there. It just gives it a little support and it keeps it so it doesn't fall over and crack on you. So that's just a thought, okay? So for those of you that are trying to do tentacles, that's a really basic way to do it. I would hold off on the attachment part because I'm going to show you guys how to do that in detail. But if you feel like you got it, you know, go for it, okay? So hopefully that helps. I know there was a lot of questions about those tentacles, so that should get you through. The videos between yesterday and today, that's all I'm gonna do because I think you guys need a minute to process that and actually work on your clay. So that'll be it for today. If you have any questions as you go through it, please make sure you email me or comment below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good day.